everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a 6x6 mixed media canvas that I made. Still hanging on with the very end of the month of our theme in Art Joy of Sharing Art community on Facebook, that is Grunge Revival. So you can search all the projects that we've made all through the month, and all you have to do is use the hashtag AJOS Grunge Revival. That stands for Art Joy of Sharing. Also, over on our live streaming channel, we've been doing grunge all month as well. And that's going to end on the 31st, and then we're having a new theme starting on February 1st. So no more grunge after that. I mean, well, we might still have grunge, but you know what I'm saying. So I started out this project doing some collage. I picked out of my baskets. I have a large basket and a small basket that's stacked together, and they're labeled with a color. So I picked some painty papers and scraps from my red basket, my pink basket, and my black and white basket. Because the black and white neutral, because I knew I would need to throw in some contrast and a little bit of, more pattern for a grunge type of look. Sometimes I start with paint, sometimes I start with scribbles. Today I started with a bit of collage to get some color on there. Today was one of those days where I am not feeling particularly happy. I had a cousin of mine pass away from COVID, and he was only 2 years older than me, and that makes me scared and sad. And so I really wasn't in the mood to make art, but we did our live stream today. This is Thursday, so this was done during the live stream, and I took a second video of it with my camera. So I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what I wanted to make. I didn't know where the project was going. And when that happens, and I know it happens to all of us, and it's probably happening a lot more these days with everyone being, inside and everything. So a good way to start is to just grab out some pretty papers from your stash of painty paper. This is often the way I start, even when I'm in a good mood. Today I was in a terrible mood. So yeah, put some papers down. I used Liquitex matte gel medium. That is my preference. I like the non-shiny finish of a matte gel, and I like a gel consistency on my collage medium because it helps a lot of different textures and thicknesses and weights of paper stick. If you were just using only tissue paper or something like that, you probably could use a fluid medium. But even then, I often use a thicker medium. It's what I prefer for collage. So then the next thing I did after I glued down some of these papers is I got out some paint, and I got some red and some pink and some orange, all warm colors, because the colors that I picked of the papers were warm colors, right? They weren't all the same. I have a basket of red, but some of those reds tend towards orange, some of them tend towards burgundy, some of them tend towards pink, but they're all still in the red category. So you can put them all together. If you look at a color wheel, I'm using the ones that are close to each other. So red is near to, as it goes around, red and magenta are close to each other. Orange is there. If you keep going around the corner, you've got yellow. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. And then, of course, the black and white, gray, black, white, neutrals. So I am just mark making when I do my painting. Sometimes I'm filling in, sometimes I'm just making another mark. I'm not thinking real hard. I do want to have different sizes of marks. I don't want them to all be exactly the same, like dot, 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 all the way across is boring. So some large circles, some small circles, some lines, some just areas that are quickly painted in. It makes them more interesting to look at. And then the next thing I did was I got out some black VersaFine Clair ink. That is a supposed quick drying pigment ink. So it's a permanent light fast ink. So you can go ahead and mix that in with your acrylics. Obviously the acrylic is dry. And these shapes that I'm using are hand carved stamps that I made, I don't know, probably a couple years ago. And they're kind of wonky shapes, circles and ovals, and they've got little gouges out of them and little, lines or marks. And I thought with the other marks that I was making that these would go with it really well. And I was able to get a good contrast going with using the black ink with the stamps. So it's always fun to make your own stamps. Then there isn't anybody else out there who has them, right? They're yours. I also did some circles using a lid to a bottle, using that same paints that is on my little paper palette there. Just getting a lot of action, a lot of marks, a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I decided to come back in with a smaller brush with some white gesso just to bring a little bit of the white back. I had the lightest color on there at that before this was that light pink color, which isn't that far off from white, but I just thought maybe a little bit more white and filling in a few areas. For even more contrast, I want there to be a lot of things going on, a lot of crazy movement going on this canvas. A lot of people will ask this question. This is the most common question on a project like this. When do you know to stop? When is the stopping point when you're doing something like this? There is not a right or wrong answer to that. It is when you feel it's done. This is intuitive. It's just I'm really not using every inch of my brain to do this. I'm not thinking about, I mean, I am thinking about, but not like focusing on any one thing. I'm using colors that are going to go together without my thought. They're not going to, turn into gray if I mix them together. I'm using simple shapes that are easy for me to make a mark with, like circles and lines and dots. And now I'm doing drips. I have some acrylic inks. There's fluorescent pink and a kind of orangey red color, and then some white. I also have a bottle of golden fluid acrylic. No, that's not. It's high flow, actually. Golden high flow, which is an even more fluid acrylic than fluid acrylic. And it is in a transparent shading gray color. And this one lets things shine from underneath, but kind of, shades things out a little bit. It's a transparent, translucent color, so you still see what's underneath it. But I was able to add a few areas of dark, and now you're starting to see things. You're starting to see your eye move around the canvas a little bit more because there are some dark spots, some light spots, some different size shapes, some different colors. And this is the true process of making an abstract piece. This one did not end up abstract because I ended up making it into a heart, but it was abstract before I did that. So then I'm making some more marks, and these are woodies. It is a Stabilo crayon pencil that it's water soluble, so you can smooth it out if you want to. I was really more interested in the kind of crayon-like scratchy look that you can get with these without blending it. I did blend some of it a little bit. I've got my water brush there now, but I was using that product, and also I'm going to use some of the Neo Color 2 water soluble crayons to get that kind of scratchy look. And when the close-ups come up at the end, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. I mean, we all know from kindergarten that when you color with a crayon, it doesn't make a clear, concise line. And if you want a really dark color, you're going to have to press it hard, right? But you're still going to end up with a little bit of the paper showing through because that's the nature of a crayon. Whereas paint is gliding over the paper and usually absorbing into the paper, depending on the paper, and you get a more complete coverage and a different mark with paint and with a brush than you do using a crayon. So I like the contrast between the marks, and that's the reason that I pulled out some of those marking tools. So now I decided I'm going to go ahead and omit some of the background, reverse painting, some people call this. You can call it what you want. But I drew a heart with a Stabilo All pencil, which those pencils write over anything, and I've got a lot going on there, right? So I need something to write over it just so I can see. And then I'm using a glazing medium. This one is Zinc Ice. I bought this from Seth Apter, the artist, from his store. He has SethApter.com. And it is made by Altadene. It's a gel-like glaze. So it has a color. The color is coffee. So it's like a dark brown. I thought it looked black when I picked it up, but it's dark brown. And it's completely transparent other than the color. So it goes over all those areas that I want to push back so that the heart shape stands out from the background. And so it's kind of fun to have a product like this that you can just use. However, you can make your own glaze using glazing medium and acrylic paint or pigment anytime you want. So you don't have to have a product that's called glaze. It's just, something different. And Seth Apter's style, that particular artist's style, is always very grungy. He does a lot of layers and textures, and that's his style. So using a product of his, just like using a product of Tim Holtz's Distress line, gives you almost a glimpse into their style. And since we're still doing AJOS Grunge Revival today, this needs to be a little bit grungy, a little bit dirty, a little bit industrial, whatever. So that's why I picked that particular product rather than mixing my own glaze, just because it's Seth's product. That's why. Also, I have it, so I might as well use it. So I decided to put some butterfly wings on this heart. It just didn't see, it needed something. And so I took some more of my little scraps of papers and cut out some little shapes to make wings. Sometimes you wish your heart had wings, fly away. When your heart is heavy, needs to be lifted a little bit. So wings. I did some kind of yellow with marks on it from scratching through the paint, and then I did some kind of red transparent, and then a little bit of a pink on top of that. And the wings are like butterfly wings. I don't know if I said that already, but that's kind of what I was going for, a butterfly wing look rather than more of an angel wing or a fairy wing. I was definitely going butterfly. So I put those on with that same Liquitex matte gel medium. And then I took my Stabilo All pencil, went around them so that they were integrated into the whole thing. And then blended that out with water a little bit. The Stabilo All is very water reactive, so you can kind of make a watery effect by doing that. Then I have a white pen. This is a white acrylic pen made by Posca. It's the fine tip. And I'm adding highlights and marks and splatters and things like that with this pen, and that'll be pretty much the end of it all. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and maybe you would like to make something like this yourself since, that whole love holiday is coming up. And it might inspire you to do that. Little 6x6 canvases are inexpensive and easy to find at Walmart even, and you could make something like this if you wanted to. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have a comment or a question, you can leave it below. I always appreciate hearing from you. And of course, you can subscribe if you haven't already. And also, we still have the option of joining the membership of the channel and receiving exclusive content when you are a member. There is a join button for those of you who are looking on the computer or on a browser. If you're on an application, you won't see the join button, so you'll need to go to the computer to look. So this is about done. Here comes your close-ups, and that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.